Ariel Helwani has revealed the true story behind the scenes involving Jon Jones versus after analyzing Jones's recent tweet storm. Tom Aspinall explains why this story has taken much longer than fans anticipated. Ariel expressed his opinion. If you look at what has happened over the past few weeks, the UFC just doesn't need a big main event slot right now. The promotion took away Ilia Topuria's featherweight title, not because of inactivity, but because they needed a main event for UFC 314 and booked Volk versus Lopez. Then they took away Islam Makhachev to force an Ilia versus Oliveira headliner. This is a pattern in Jones versus. Aspinall doesn't fit into that urgent slot-filling need. The UFC is currently stacked with headline-worthy names and pay-per-view anchors, so they are not in a rush to pull the trigger on Jones Aspinall until the timing fits a business need. Until then, we will have to wait to see this career-defining, incredible super fight, according to Ariel.
Now, I believe, as I've told you guys many months ago, what did I say? I said that the UFC came correct with the money. Jon asked for top dollar, they offered him top dollar. And then I said that Jon essentially wasn't interested. And so now what I believe is happening, I believe that the UFC pulls the trigger on things when they have to. They told Ilia, we need that belt because we need a main event for April in Miami. We're taking that belt. They told Islam, we need that belt because we need a main event for June in Las Vegas. Until they are forced with a predicament where they need a slot filled, they're not going to listen to what Jon Jones is saying. So they look at the schedule. It's not a meritocracy. It's a filling in the holes tocracy, if you get what I'm saying. June 7th, accounted for. June 28th, accounted for. July 19th, accounted for. August pay-per-view, accounted for. So everything is good till September.
The story doesn't end there, though, as Ilia Topuria's brother Alex Topuria revealed that if both Islam and Ilia win their fights, they want to clash at welterweight for a historic third UFC title. That kind of showdown would be unprecedented, with El Matador chasing down Islam Makhachev across 3 divisions to capture the third belt. Chael Sonnen doesn't buy Islam Makhachev's move up to welterweight, calling it outright cowardice. Islam's move may be strategic, but the pressure is on, and the MMA community is watching to see if he's really stepping up or just playing it safe. How do you think a fight between the Georgian and the Dagestani would go? Could Topuria neutralize Islam's elite grappling? Pride and enormous stakes that could shake up the division like never before. Comment below.
Islam went up not out of courage. Islam did not go up out of adding hardware to put on his mantle. He went up with one condition, which is I don't have to fight Belal Muhammad. Now, he can sit around and say, I could beat Belal, and I wouldn't go up and beat Belal because I can beat Belal. The bottom line is you entered a division openly that you said you wouldn't face one of the top guys. That's not a sign of courage. That's a sign of cowardice. I don't love the idea. You have an undefeated. Make sure you understand what happened. I know this is your friend, DC. I think of Islam as my friend, too. But let's think of what happened. You have an undefeated, #1 ranked world champion who's chasing you down. He is willing to leave his division behind. He's willing to walk away from his belt to chase you down. You are so interested in getting away from this guy that you not only leave your belt, you leave your division, and the whole thing is only contingent that you don't have to fight Islam. Not for nothing. This is not the way champions conduct themselves.
During a podcast appearance, Ankalaev, who has been training with the former middleweight champion and is currently on a 14-fight unbeaten streak, talked about the intense training sessions he's had with Strickland, who's been one of his main sparring partners over the past several months. Although Strickland doesn't currently have a fight lined up, he's been staying active in the gym and helping out. Recently, Sean Strickland got into a heated physical altercation with a sparring partner at his gym, and tensions escalated to the point where threats were made to take the conflict outside of sports. Others get ready. In his recent chat with Allenbeck, Badav Uncle described a troubling incident that, in his opinion, occurred not long ago. Ankalaev explained that while Americans may dismiss some of Strickland's remarks, such as derogatory remarks about fighters from his background, his unfiltered and frequently provocative personality has occasionally caused friction with fighters from Ankalaev's region, particularly when it comes to cultural or religious sensitivities. This cultural clash contributed to several tense moments, with one particular incident standing out. A sparring session between Strickland and a Russian MMA fighter, Zelim Imadev, that went out of control. The two reportedly continued fighting past the end of the round several times until Makhachev was expelled from the gym for his actions. However, as soon as they were permitted to resume their fight, they refused to stop at the bell, and Makhachev allegedly attempted to entice Strickland outside the gym by threatening him with violence, even though Strickland remained inside the gym to continue the altercation. Uncle concluded by saying he is confident Strickland has what it takes to win the title again, and that, despite the chaos, he thinks Sean is a great sparring partner who always pushes the pace and works hard in training. The outspoken Scouser, who has gained as much notoriety for his fights as he has for his dramatic post-fight weight gains, responds to everyone who is fixated on his off-season appearance. Paddy isn't afraid to indulge. Paddy maintains that it's not as extreme as it appears, despite the visual shock factor caused by his enormous meals, which frequently balloon in size to the point where fans hardly recognize him. Photos and videos of his inflated appearance are constantly shared on social media, sparking comments and memes. He claimed that on fight night, he usually weighs about 185 pounds, which means that he only gains 10 to 15 pounds over his actual walking weight rather than 40. He has obviously perfected this cycle, and it hasn't impacted his performances in the octagon. Speaking of which, Paddy just won the biggest fight of his career by shockingly defeating Michael Chandler via TKO in a bout where many thought he would lose Chandler's aggression and knockout power. The majority of the MMA community was on his side, but Paddy's victory spectacularly disproved the skeptics. Pimblett is now more than just a meme. He is a serious candidate vying for a championship.
Does it make you laugh how obsessed social media seems to be with your diet and your weight?
It's funny, isn't it?
I'm like, lad's not...
Mad. It is, it's mad. People think I put like 30 pound on, well, like 40 pound on. Like, my face goes a bit chubby.
Mate, if you can't enjoy a bit of cake once, you just...
But like, I weigh in at 146, 56. And then people are like, oh, he's put 40 pound on. I haven't, because I walk in the cage the next day at like 185. Know what I mean? Yeah. So I've put like 10 pound on, 15 pound on from what I actually walk in the cage at. Like, it's mad. Like, I get back in the cage like 180 to 185.